biggest challenge that we face in intelligent packaging is history, right? The idea of intelligent packaging is that you've got to have a paradigm shift. You really need to be thinking fundamentally differently about, what value is packaging bring? What is, the point that Robert was raising? The packaging serves, is useful to the degree it delivers a value, that it believes in economic utility to the people who are using the item that it's protecting. Well, there's a lot of different ways to think about, how do we communicate something of value to a consumer on any one of these different mechanisms. Now, we believe that circularity, when it comes to our materials, is a value. It's a social value to the entire, the entire globe. And so, thinking differently about, well, it's not just about the packaging being intelligent, it's all the other pieces it's going to communicate in order to be intelligent, in order to be able to create this interconnectivity. This intelligent refrigerator that Robert's talking about. That, it's almost like once you create these networks and these components, you have to have some faith that those technology pieces will be leveraged, if not now, in the future. But if everybody's waiting for somebody else to start with this, then we never get to a point where where a technology or a concept is adopted. So it's about allowing ourselves to be curious and think fundamentally differently about this, the value that packaging brings.
Are there any cost pressures as well?
But there's tremendous cost, especially when it comes to anything that's consumed. There's tremendous cost pressures. But this is where packaging becomes very interesting, right? Because it has to deliver a value. I mean, I could walk around with my hands cupped filled with something I'm drinking. That's clearly not sustainable, right? That's not a value. And so part of the idea of cost really comes down to what are consumers prepared to pay for, and are brand owners prepared to actually fulfill these very ambitious sustainability goals that they've communicated. Getting to carbon neutrality, getting to 100% recyclable. Those are outstanding goals. But the first time someone decides, hey, from economic reasons, I'm not going to do that because virgin materials are still less expensive, then we start to see an erosion, right? The cost opportunity exists as long as everyone is prepared to recognize and acknowledge that, hey, there is societal benefit to using, to fulfilling and meeting the kind of sustainability goals that were laid out, because that then creates enough economic utility for, to afford some of the technology we have. Because the technology might make things more expensive to start. I know we like to say it'd be cheaper up front. Yep. Likely long term, it will make things fundamentally less expensive. But that's often not necessarily true with new technologies when they first emerge. And so we have to be able to give some of these ideas runway. And staying true to those sustainability goals will essentially provide that economic umbrella.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with Robert and Ken about the challenges. And one more thing that I can say is the adoption rate. Probably I believe that the adoption might be different in the Asia Pacific cluster compared to maybe North America or Europe. So yeah, we need to see at how the demographics are adopting the different features that are being introduced in intelligent packaging, and that's something interesting that we can see among the audience or among the buyers of different geographic locations.